Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, extreme fear. There's so much fear out there. The trolling has increased exponentially. Even Michael Saylor has to defend himself on Twitter now. That's how bad it has become. But does that mean this is a buy signal? Does that mean all the trollish comments and all this fear is indicating that it's a good time to buy? Well, let's discuss if that's true or not. So thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams every day, 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. So make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest articles on CryptosRUs.com. All right, guys, welcome. Again, so much fear right now. And it's, it reminds me so much. I mean, I've gone through this, okay? I've streamed from 2018 to 2020, right? Where it was nothing but fear and uncertainty and doubt. There was FUD nonstop. No one paid attention to anything that was being said. However, there was a small group of people that continued to follow the course. They continued to watch me. They continued to DCA and power through all the FUD despite the onslaught of it. And those were the people that got rewarded. And they're sitting pretty today, like myself. But right now, it's feeling like it's the same kind of situation, despite the fact that Bitcoin is now 10 times higher. That's the thing. That's the thing that I think newcomers in the space do not realize. And a lot of you guys, it's not your fault. A lot of you guys watching is new to the space. Like James, for example, his comment is muted because he's an absolute miserable person right now, and he's trying to spread fear. But this sounds exactly, it feels exactly like 2018 when the Bitcoin bubble burst and it started going down. This is 2017 going to 2018, and things went really low, and it's gotten to a point where like people just gave up. And it's feeling like that right now. But like I said, things are much better now than before. And there's so much data these days, so much metrics these days that shows that this is not like before. This is not like the top where the bubble burst and there was nothing to look forward to. Everything was the future. Right now, there's so much going on behind the scenes. And I'm not just talking about whale accumulation. And I'm going to show you a few more articles that correlate with this. But there's so much interest, adoption, awareness, buying. There's just so much out there. So it's really silly to think that this is the end or the start of the end, and that there's just nowhere to go from here. So the Crypto Fear Index is one of those indexes that measures fear in the market. And it has dropped from the 20s, which, it has hovered there for quite some time, now down to 10. Okay, so this kind of measures like what's going on, what people are saying, and overall sentiment of the market, right? But here's the thing, whenever Bitcoin and the crypto fear index hits 10, which is pretty much a bottom, although one time it went a little bit below 10, which I don't even know how, but pretty much 10 is like the baseline for extreme fear. The great thing is every time it hit 10, right, it actually was a bottom indicator. And the more times it hits 10, the more, it groups, the stronger the indicator to buy. So right now we just have hit 10. And the funny thing is, this is the same level as this morning. And I said, despite the onslaught of selling that occurred yesterday, we're still holding and hovering around 30,000. So, I mean, again, I think people are equating this like this is the end of the world for Bitcoin. It is not. It is not. And something that also relates to this fear index, or just overall fear, extreme fear, is, I like to remind you guys some of the most famous investors. Maybe not the most popular investors, especially among crypto enthusiasts or crypto community. But, these guys have said it best. Baron Rothschild. Buy when there's blood in the streets, even if the blood is your own, right? Meaning there will be good times and there will be bad times. There will be bad times. You may be in the red, but if you believe the course, you believe what you're investing in, right? Sometimes you have to live with that and you have to continue on and DCA or just buy the dip, right? Another guy I know you guys have heard of, Warren Buffett. Be fearful when others are greedy. Be greedy when others are fearful. And there's a lot of fear right now. I'm going to show you some articles that backs that up. And something else that Warren Buffett said, you replace the stock market, but the stock market is a wonderfully efficient mechanism for transferring wealth from the inpatient to the patient. And this relates to any kind of investment. Doesn't even mean it has to be stocks. It could be real estate. It could be commodities. It could be Bitcoin. It could be crypto. Really, the name of the game is to have patience and hodl, right? Hodl comes with patience. The more patience you have, the more you're going to gain from holding. It just goes together, right? So again, newcomers in the space, a lot of newcomers. And again, I'm not trying to shame newcomers, okay? I get it. You come in, you invested your hard-earning dollars, you bought in Bitcoin or Ethereum or Cardano near the top. This is horrible. I get it, okay? I'm not trying to shame newcomers that just entered and they just don't get it. I get it's a horrible situation, right? But know this, Bitcoin and any kind of investment out there is a, it's a game that you have to play long term. It's not a short term play. If you got into the market thinking that you're going to become a millionaire overnight or within a week, well, unfortunately, you got in for the wrong reasons. Okay? Bitcoin will be volatile, but it goes both ways. There will be terrible days like today, but there will also be terrific days. Days where it seems like Bitcoin and crypto will not stop and keep going and going and going and going, right? It goes both ways. But it really comes down to the fundamentals. Are you patient enough to hold? Are you smart enough to buy the dips, right? And are you smart enough to take profits on the way up and avoid panic selling, right? So those are just the basic fundamentals of investing. And the same thing applies to Bitcoin and crypto. Now, when I said there was a lot of fear out on the market, it's not just the fear index that indicates that. Let's take a look at some of these headlines here. Here's one. 13K Bitcoin price predictions emerge with Bitcoin falling below historic trend line. And what is this trend line? The 50-week simple moving average. So people are freaking out that Bitcoin broke below the 50-day or 50-week moving average. And people are predicting some tremendous falls. For example, here's a guy. Bitcoin Master predicts that maybe Bitcoin takes the usual 80% decline and goes down to 13,000. And Keith Waring expects that, hey, Bitcoin will drop to 24.6 because there's some CME gap that's still left open there. And after that, it could go down to 12K or even 2K. I mean, there is a lot of fear out there, a lot of fear. People are now just speculating how far Bitcoin will fall. And I remember I started this show talking about how this was very similar to 2018. Well, guess what? When Bitcoin was falling in 2018 and it fell from 6,000 down to 3,000, the same kind of doomsday predictions was being thrown out. I remember Tone Vase and his friends were talking about hyperwave and how Bitcoin for sure, absolutely certainty that was going to fall to $1,500 or $1,000. And there was others that's predicting that Bitcoin is just going to collapse to zero. That there's no way that it can sustain itself, that the bubble has burst and there's no way it's going to come back up. Well, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. At 3,000 held. And slowly and surely it started coming back up, and now we're more than 10x, right? We're 10x higher than that point. So I've heard this before. I've seen this before. It feels a lot like it, even though we're 10 times better than before. So just kind of give you guys a heads up. There will be a lot of people making a lot of predictions. And at this point, everyone's making a bad prediction. There's no one that's brave enough to come out and say, I predict Bitcoin's going to be at 100,000 by the end of the year, like I have been saying. People don't want to be wrong. They want to throw out as many predictions as possible to be right, despite the fact that it's causing more FUD in the market and making this almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But, like I said, you have to pay attention to what's going on behind the scenes, because there is a lot of buying and accumulating, and it's not just that. You could also tell from articles like this. FTX, one of the biggest exchanges out there, derivative exchange, they have just raised $900 million. $900 million from several prominent VCs, and this exchange is now worth $18 billion. When a year ago, it was only worth $1.2 billion. So why would investors buy or put so much money into FTX? If crypto was dead, if crypto was falling to nothing, why would these guys put any money into any kind of crypto company, right? And this is $900 million. $900 million. So kind of shows you that the interest out there is still high, okay? Despite the fact that there is a lot of fear out there, a lot of people making you feel like this is just dead, it's just stupid. It's stupid to be in crypto, right? Pay attention to what's going on. Why would all these companies put this much money, almost $1 billion, into FTX? Because they believe FTX is going to have a bright future, and they're going to have a lot of trading, and FTX has been killing it with sponsorships. They have basically bought the rights to the Miami Heat stadium. Also, they have a lot of sports endorsements as well. They're becoming a household name almost, right? This is the reason why, because crypto is not dead. And here's a strange endorsement. JPMorgan's Wealth Services, their CEO, says clients see Bitcoin as an asset class to invest in. So the wealth management group kind of is separated from JPMorgan's normal group, banking division. And yeah, they've come out and said that this is the reason why JPMorgan wants a Bitcoin fund, because their wealthy clients want to invest in Bitcoin, right? And actually, the lower Bitcoin is, the more appetizing it is for them, so that they could buy a whole lot of cheap Bitcoins. And I made this connection yesterday. Grayscale's CEO, his brother, guess where he works at? He works at JPMorgan Wealth Advisory Group. So there's a connection there too, right? So I don't think it's a coincidence that this is happening, but this also shows you, again, a lot of wealthy individuals is thinking about Bitcoin. They're not giving up. They're not giving up. Okay, and just a side note, today I went to one of the car dealerships that I usually go to borrow a car to review. I reviewed a brand new 2022 Honda Civic. And one of the managers I haven't met before, he came out and introduced himself. He's like, he's a big fan, and I'm like, do you own any Bitcoin right now? He's like, no, but I've been studying upon it a lot. And now I've been waiting for a dip. And now that Bitcoin has come down so much, it's a lot more appealing to me to get in, right? So there's a lot of people that are sitting on the sidelines also waiting for a good buying opportunity, waiting for a strong dip, because when things went up so fast to 60,000, it's really, really hard for anyone to jump in at that point. But now, a little bit more affordable, even though one Bitcoin still costs you a hefty $30,000. Very little people can just dish out $30,000 to buy a single Bitcoin. But if you had $30,000, you could buy one Bitcoin versus half a Bitcoin just a few months ago. So if you think about that, definitely a bargain right now. All right. What else is there? What else is there? Well, look at this. Although this is talking about stablecoin, Mastercard. Also, Mastercard is getting involved with crypto payments, and they're working. It seems like they're working with USDC to make sure that the stablecoin USDC can be used as a bridge currency, because there's a lot of crypto that doesn't translate to USD very well, but it's easy for crypto to translate or to trade for USDC. So now Mastercard is getting more serious about utilizing their network for crypto payments because they don't want to be replaced. And of course, USDC is the prime candidate. I mean, I don't think at this point anyone wants to really work with Tether at this point. So this is another thing. And I don't have all the other metrics I usually show about whale accumulation, retail accumulation, and all these other metrics that show that, yeah, there's a lot of buying behind the scenes, right? So I don't have any of that to show you guys tonight, but I have shown you guys those metrics for quite some time now, and those things didn't change. So what's going on behind the scenes, the fundamentals, the external macro things are still in place. So don't be fooled by short-term volatility. Don't get scared out becoming the person you set yourself to become. And that is someone that's financially free, someone that has broken the chains of a 9-to-5 job, and someone that is on their path to life-changing wealth, right? So don't give up on that just because we have some FUD right now, okay? So don't give up. Now, what else is going on? Well, I've talked about this several days now about the B word, and this is coming up tomorrow. I really think something big will come out of this. When you have Cathie Wood and Jack Dorsey and Elon speaking together about Bitcoin, the only agenda here is about Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining. I'm thinking that something good is going to come out of this. I can't imagine a situation where these three are talking negatively about Bitcoin. It won't happen. It won't happen. And I'm surprised they didn't invite Michael Saylor. I'm honestly surprised they didn't invite him, because one of the big topics, of course, is Bitcoin mining, which the Bitcoin mining console was started by Michael Saylor, although some people did not like that. Does not like the fact that there needs to be a console, but still, it brought the miners together. They have proved that 56% of mining is using renewable energy, and that's what Elon was looking for, right? So I still think that something good will come out of tomorrow. What's happening right now could align, it's aligning perfectly going up to tomorrow and aligning perfectly for Tesla for next week. So I guess we'll just have to see. All right, overall, Bitcoin, 29.8, right? Despite all the FUD, all the selling, right? Oh, by the way, I want to clarify. This morning, of course, I showed you guys this big inflow into Coinbase, 79,000. But what I missed was there was an outflow right after that, 51,000. So the net difference is about 29,000. Okay, if you calculate that, that's still like $1 billion. $1 billion. And people have chimed in and said, oh, you missed this. Yes, I'm correcting myself. And people chimed in, well, just because it was deposited in Coinbase doesn't mean it was sold off, right? That is true. But why else would you deposit $1 billion worth of Bitcoin all of a sudden into Coinbase? For the purpose of selling, okay? You're not depositing there to trade for altcoins. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? So despite this, you have $1 billion that was sold for, that was of Bitcoin that was sold. And despite all these headlines now talking about Bitcoin falling to 13,000 or 15,000 or wherever, Bitcoin is still holding strong, 200 points, right under $30,000. So keep that in the back of your mind that it is not all doom and gloom. It is not the end for Bitcoin. And year-to-year performance is still 225% for Bitcoin. 225%. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, let's do a quick Q&A, and I'll let you guys go. I actually wanted to watch the tail end of the Suns and Bucks, which hopefully Bucks will just destroy and annihilate the Suns. All right, let's do this. All right, scrolling up. Let me make sure. Janice, Polygon. I know it's one of your favorite. Optimism is now launched. Will Matic be obsolete? No. Matic or Polygon, they have their own ecosystem now. They don't have to be just a layer 2 for Ethereum. That's not the case anymore. They could operate on their own. So, and they do have quite a lot that have moved to Polygon. So I think they'll stay and they'll continue to do well. What are your thoughts about Kiyosaki and many others? Fools use cash and you should use debt instead. That applies to the ultra rich, okay? It does not apply for normal citizens because when you have debt, you still have a chance to be margin called and there's interest to pay. For the ultra rich, yes, you don't want to sell. You can actually take a loan from your assets and you can live off of that. You can pay the interest is nothing versus your capital gains. But for everyone else, I don't advise that. Especially many people, taking out a mortgage or using their credit card or, putting down collateral to borrow against. Those kind of situations, it gets really dicey. So Caesar, hopefully that helps that. You think Digibyte will live up to the hype it had in 2018? 3 cents is a steal right now. I never liked Digibyte, but I think they've gotten better because of their new layer 2. Now they're getting to tokenization and also smart contracts and DeFi. So if that goes well and they can onboard a lot of dApps that people actually use, it could actually drive them higher than the hype in 2018. Right? I was always neutral because I didn't like them just being a digital currency. And, I know they have 5 hashing algorithms, but that was it. But now, I think they're actually more interesting. Thoughts on IOTA? Still waiting for them to get rid of the coordinator chain, which, as far as I know, still has not happened. So, until that happens, I can't take it seriously. Do you think there will be another altcoin season this year? Yes, towards the end of the year. Altcoin season usually lasts about a month or 2, and everything goes parabolic. This is during, usually the tail end of a bull cycle. So I still maintain that we're going to have that later this year. So maybe starting September, October, around that time frame, going to December, and I think we're going to see altcoin season. What do you think about ALU's pump today? Almost 300. I don't think anything of it. Someone pumped it. Some group pumped it. That was it. If OTC buying does nothing to the price, the model asks, then how does it help us? It sounds like they are just getting BTC and does nothing. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't help us. However, I'm correcting myself. If there's more OTC buying than selling, eventually the OTC market dries up. You gotta think. OTC market, there's a buyer and a seller. If there's only buyers and there's no sellers, then the market dries up. Then there's no buying on OTC market, right? So then the OTC basically has to buy from the spot market, or these buyers just have to go to the spot market. So we have seen reserves of Bitcoin on the spot exchanges go down and down and down over time. And as more time passes, it will get lower and lower and lower. So it does. Short term, it doesn't help price. Long term, definitely does. Altura pumping, any idea why? No. Just a pump group, probably. Just like someone else asked. Just because something pumps like 300% or whatever percent does not mean that you should FOMO into it. Does not mean that something awesome, revolutionary thing happened. In crypto, the most likely explanation is some group is pumping it. That's really it. So don't fall for these pumps. Make sure you study and do your homework. Investigate why it's pumping. Very rarely is there a really good reason for a pump, but hey, if there is some awesome thing, then great. But most likely it's not, so make sure you do your homework. Axis Infinity. Axis Infinity is just one of those games that's very, very popular. Very popular. Caught on fire. People love it. But I've warned you guys that it overshot and then it started coming down, right? Whenever something just goes up forever, it always comes down. But when it stables out, could be a good buying opportunity. But, you know, with games, you know, obviously games go very viral. And when you integrate NFTs, it's a good combination. Good combination. Mark says, European Union wants to ban anonymous wallets against money laundering. In my opinion, is a form of regulation. What is your opinion? I haven't heard that, but I could see how that could be put in place, because this is why I don't like privacy coins, because regulators want to track transactions. And if you're using anonymous wallet, right, they don't know where it's coming from. It sucks if that gets implemented, but I could see how they want that, right? This is why all the major privacy coins are not really listed on US-based exchanges, because of the same reasons. Are NFTs a good play while we're downtrend? It depends. Depends. There are certain NFTs I really like Engine is one of them. Chili's is another one. What's the other one? Shoot. Getting a brain fart. I forgot the other one. But yes. Where did I get that lamp behind me? I don't know. I had that like 10 years ago. 10 years ago. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys go. Overall, if you missed everything else I said, just know that investing crypto, you know, is it really, you know, those that have the most patience are rewarded the most. It really comes down to focusing on the future, investing for the future, and having patience and having a lot of it. Volatility is a price emission for crypto and for attaining life-changing wealth, in my opinion. All right. So despite what everyone else is saying, all the negativity, right, I remain positive. I remain thinking that we are still in a bull market and that we will recover. And what we're seeing now is temporary, and we will get past this. Okay, we will get past this. And right now reminds me so much like 2018, when everyone was declaring that it was things were gonna go much worse and go much lower, right? Until it didn't happen and we started recovering. So, you know, the only thing I can say is don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. All right, guys. That is it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, smash a like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right? Have a good one, guys.